Good morning. It is Monday morning with me, Pastor Amanda, and Hope, Faith, and Joy Daily Devotion. Don't worry, this is pre-recorded, so I didn't spend all weekend in the same clothes. I'm just getting ahead. But I will be live with you on Wednesday again, but I wanted to make sure we still had daily devotions while I am away for a few more days of vacation and spiritual retreat. So let's kind of dive in. This is the last chapter of the Gospel of Mark, chapter 16. And so tomorrow we'll start with Luke. But let's look here what's going on. I think Mark is honestly tickles me the most on how it ends. And it's got like 3 endings. So you're going to have to decide what works best for you. It's like choose your own ending for Mark. And but what we do know in Mark is that after the Sabbath was over, so everybody had to leave Jesus in the tomb for these 3 days because the Sabbath had to happen. And we find that the women are the first to go to the tomb, and they're already, what they're worried about is like, how are we going to move this rock that's blocking the tomb? And yet when they arrive, they find that the tomb is empty. The rock has been removed and the tomb is empty. And so we have like Luke and Matthew saying all these times, do not be afraid, do not be afraid, do not be afraid. But I love it. In my version, in Mark, it says, do not be alarmed. Do not be alarmed. You're looking for Jesus of Nazareth, and he has been raised. He is not here. And so we have this moment where, again, it's like, don't worry, all is okay. And what happens here, in this particular one, it says, he's not here, he's been raised, but go tell the disciples and Peter that he is going ahead of you to Galilee. There you will see him just as he told you. So they went away and fled from the tomb, for terror and amazement had seized them. Here it is. And they said nothing to anyone, for they were afraid. The end. And so you're left with like, they said nothing? How can that be? Because there's no way we'd know this story if they said nothing. And that's where some people leave it. So then it leaves it up to you. Are you going to say something? Because evidently it didn't get tracked with here. It continued to move on. So where are you at? Are you going to say something? Do something about this? But then it has what's called the shorter ending and then the long ending. So here's your pick your ending. And so the short ending tells us that they went and told Peter. Just Peter. And that's then through Peter, kind of the message kind of flowed out from there. And then we have this third ending. So again, the women went to the tomb and they found out that he was alive. And then it's kind of like a little bit of Luke gets put in here, because it says then Jesus appeared to 2 disciples who were walking in the country, and then they went back and told the disciples what they had saw. So that's the Emmaus story that Luke tells us about, but Mark only gives us like 2 verses. Then we go into a little bit of Matthew tacked on to the end in verse 14, and where he tells them to go into all the world and proclaim the good news to the whole creation. The one who believes and is baptized will be saved, but the one who does not believe will be condemned. So Mark's a little harsher. Instead of just go out and baptize the world, he's like, he's a little bit harsher with it, and he goes into talking about what's going to happen to those who don't believe. So Mark has a pretty yikes kind of ending. it's kind of an expanded version of the Great Commission we find in Matthew. And then this longer edition then finally speaks that so then the Lord Jesus, after he had spoken to them, was taken up into heaven and sat down at the right hand of God. And they went out and proclaimed the good news everywhere, while the Lord worked with them and confirmed the message by the signs that accompanied it. So, somebody decided that they needed to know that the disciples went forward and were doing something. Whereas the original ending, or the first ending, kind of leaves it up to you to decide. Not that you're being told to do it, but what are you going to do? Are you going to just sit in fear or sit in amazement of what you just heard? Or are you then going to do something with it? And so it's like some people came along at the end and said, well, we got to push people to feel like they need to do something. But that's our Gospel of Mark. We find, and really what I want to recognize, again, where I said Matthew's a teaching gospel, Mark is about making us feel the pressure to respond to God so that we don't end up being like that fig that doesn't produce fruit and then Jesus passes us by and curses us. You don't know when Jesus is going to come. You don't know when you're going to be called on. And so you have to start practicing your discipleship now so that when it is important, when you are put on that cross, when you are put in that difficult situation, when you are called upon to really express your faith, you've got to be ready. But you're not going to be able to give a testimony if you don't practice giving testimony at church or with your family. You're not going to be able to do it when you really need to do it. So you have to practice your faith in small ways now so that you can do it in big ways when you're called upon. And it's important that you start now, not tomorrow. You got to start now because you don't know when you're going to be called upon to use your faith in a way that helps heal other people. But if you don't practice it now, you're going to miss your opportunity. And that will be a sad day for everyone involved, you and the person who needs your help. And it's a lot of pressure, and you can take it and make yourself feel bad, or you can turn it around and you can start doing something about it. You call me, call your friend, call your own pastor, somebody. Get together in a small group and start finding ways to live your faith. And you'll grow and you'll be an amazing person. And that's our hope, faith, and joy for this morning. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow when we start in the Gospel of Luke. So have a beautiful day. Bye.